For number 12, we're asked to find sine 2 theta, cosine 2 theta, and tangent of 2 theta. And if you look at the information that you're given, you can tell by looking at this that it's going to be one of those right triangle problems where you're going to have to draw the right triangle yourself. You want to look at this bit of information here to see what quadrant to draw that in. So since theta is supposed to happen in between 0 and negative pi over 2, that means that this triangle is going to end up being in the fourth quadrant. So you want to draw it as such, because this would be 0, and then a negative pi over 2 would be that angle down at the bottom. Theta is going to be here in the middle. Pretend that looks like a nice theta. And from there, we know that sine is negative 5 over 13. So from theta, the opposite over hypotenuse ratio is negative 5/13. So that makes that side length the negative 5 and the hypotenuse 13. Using the Pythagorean theorem, we can find that final side. Although this to me looks like one of those nice Pythagorean triple triangles. But let's just find out. 25 plus b squared is equal to 169. Subtract the 25. So b squared is 144. Take the square root of both sides. So we get that that missing side length is 12. Okay, so once you have your triangle set up, that's when you can go in and start using the formulas. So again, these formulas you do not have to memorize. They're on your Quality Core reference sheet, which I gave you one at the beginning of the year that's purple. So if you look through your notes, you should be able to find that hopefully pretty easily. On that formula sheet, sine of 2 theta is 2 times sine of theta times cosine of theta. So just like we've done with all the other formulas, all you're going to do is replace each of these trig functions with what their ratio is in the triangle. So if we look at our triangle, we have 2 times sine, which we already know was negative 5/13 because that was given to us, times cosine, which is, if you look at our triangle, 12/13. We want to multiply those together, and you might find it helpful to put that 2 over 1. So when you look up top, you're really just doing 2 times, let's see here, really up top you're just doing 2 times negative 5, which would be a negative 10, and then negative 10 times 12 would give you a negative 120. And then your denominator, you're doing 1 times 13 times 13, it's 169. If we want to do cosine of 2 theta, we do the same thing, but with a cosine double angle formula, which is cosine squared theta minus sine squared theta. So remember, for these, really you're just going to take cosine of that angle, which is 12/13, and square it. This pen's so squeaky. Minus, and then sine of that angle, which is negative 5/13, squared. So you should really have 144 over 169 minus 25 over 169. So when you put those two together, you get 119 over 169. You always want to double check and make sure that the fractions don't reduce, but I'm pretty sure neither of those do. Okay, the final one we have to do is tangent. So I got a new page here. Tangent of 2 theta. Okay, write down the general formula is 2 times tangent of theta divided by 1 minus tangent squared of theta. Right, so again, we're just going to look at our triangle. In this case, we're just going to replace tangent theta with what it's equal to in the triangle. So if you look back up at your triangle, tangent is opposite over adjacent. So the tangent value for this triangle is -5/12. So I'm going to replace that tangent theta up top, and then same on the bottom. Alright, so what you're looking at is up top, if I multiply them together, it's -10/12, which we can reduce here in a second. And in the denominator, we have 1 minus 25/144. Now, because this one doesn't have any radicals in it, we could, technically just type this into our calculator and simplify it. But that's not as much fun as doing this by hand. So I'm going to go ahead and reduce up top to -5/6. And in the denominator, again, we're in a situation where you have a number that's a fraction and a number that's not. We need to we need to subtract them. So I'm going to make this 144. So I'm just kind of replacing that 1 with 144/144. So that, again, 144/144 reduces to 1. So I'm allowed to do that. So now we can subtract 144 minus 25, which is 119, all over 144. And then our last step is to multiply these two together. So your new numerator is -5 times 144, and the denominator 6 times 119, which after you multiply them together and reduce it, it's going to give you a -120 over 119, which does not reduce. So we're just going to go ahead and leave it like that.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.